Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to June on the Range, a great BookTube event created by Michael K. Vaughan, designed to celebrate Westerns, which were once the king of the range in terms of books, and are no longer. They are now a niche product. Very few writers write them anymore. I got derailed on June on the Range by an owl hoot named David Murphy, who came over for a visit, derailed all of my usual habits, but I wanted to return to June on the Range because I'm enthusiastically participating in a number of BookTube events this summer, and two of them right now are local to June, and June on the Range is one of them. So I want to get in as many more videos as I can on June on the Range. I'll do another week, 10 days before the month is over. And one of the things I love about June on the Range is that I'm wide open to discovery. I don't know the ins and outs of the Western subgenre as much as I do a lot of other subgenres, and I'm happy to learn, especially when the learning is so pleasant and is done in such good company. I have lots and lots of good company for June on the Range. I was having an email conversation with one of you. I leave my email on every video. You're free to email me at any time about anything. And I was emailing back and forth, wringing my hands with one of you about how I really dropped the ball on June on the Range. I made a June on the Range video shortly before David got here. He was here for a long weekend. That was a while ago, and he's been gone for a while. I still haven't got back in the saddle, so to speak. And this person very kindly wrote back and said that, hiatus or no hiatus, you've made a good number of June on the Range videos, so don't beat yourself up. But I could have made more. I should have got back in the saddle earlier than this. I've been adding Westerns to a pile in the kitchen for a long time, waiting for June on the Range. But I also have a ton of Western ebooks. And almost all of it is stuff that I don't know. I'm coming to know these authors the more of their books I read. And I have been steadily reading Westerns even when I haven't been making videos, especially William McLeod Rain, but also Clarence Mumford, the guy who created Hopalong Cassidy. I've been reading a lot of both of them. And they're very interesting in their own way. But I wanted to look at slightly more contemporary, slightly newer Westerns. The Western genre, the subgenre of Westerns, has limped forward. It is still being written. And so I picked one of those for last night. I picked an ebook, despite the fact that pile of old 25-cent paperbacks just staring at me. I picked an ebook, and I rather liked it. This is one of the instances on this channel. They don't happen all that often because I am the super sexy 28-year-old. This is one of the instances on this channel where there are going to be a lot of you who are going to know this author a lot better than I do. This is the first of his books that I've ever read. I read Shootout at Broken Bow by Charles West, who is the blurbs in the book refer to him as the heir to Louis L'Amour. A lot of Western writers get referred to that way. He's writing serious Westerns, I guess would be the way to put it, because there have always been non-serious Westerns, long-running multi-numbered series like Long Arm or Cheyenne or The Trailman that aren't. They're entertaining. They check all the boxes for the genre, but they aren't meant to be good. Am I being snobbish to say that? I don't think they are. I don't think they're meant to be good. I think they're meant to be exercises. I think they're meant to scratch an itch. Whereas something like this author gave me very much the impression that he's doing more, that he's trying to do more than that. And he does succeed. I did enjoy this. It is, it's the story of a crime family, the Blanton crime family. There's ragged, vicious old Roy Blanton and his sons, and they are a blot on Texas. They are horrible, horrible people. Their depredations in white and native communities are horrible. They're a scourge. And there is a U.S. deputy marshal named Buck Avery who takes them on and drives them out of the territory. So the territory is free of Blanton and his sons, and that's thanks to Buck Avery, who goes on to, he was already kind of a legend when he did that, but he goes on to be even more legendary. He's an enormous bear of a man. Always gets his man. doesn't let sentiment get in the way of his marshaling duties. One of the lines that we hear about him late in this novel is that he never shot someone he didn't like. He brings order, pretty much single-handedly, to the whole of the territory around Fort Smith, around the jurisdiction of the famous hanging Judge Parker. And this story takes place much later, so Buck Avery is older. In fact, he's contemplating retiring from the Marshal Service. Puts a bullseye on him in any kind of cheesy genre fiction. If you're planning on retiring, you'd better keep it to yourself, otherwise you're going to die. But he's planning on retiring, and younger people are up and coming, including a U.S. Deputy Marshal named Casey Dixon, who is much younger and a firebrand, an absolute force of nature. When it comes to fearless, but also incredibly capable when it comes to facing off against bad guys. Good with his gun, really tough, really charismatic. The author, Charles West, I know nothing about Charles West. I'm assuming that since West is the surname here, that this is a pseudonym, and I'm assuming that this author wrote hundreds of books. And he seems to me to be rather completely dried jerky in the saddle straight. Otherwise, he comes as close as he can come to saying that Casey Dixon is also a dreamboat. He comes as close as he can to saying it. I was mentally casting these roles in my head because this is made to be a movie. Oh my God. But Casey Dixon, by chance, encounters the youngest son of Roy Blanton, who has come back into the territory. And the son he's a chip off the old block. He kills a policeman. So Casey Dixon brings him in, apprehends him, catches him, travels overland with him, tying to a tree at night every night, and brings him in for justice at the hands of Judge Parker. And any of you who know your Western history, your American West history, will know the form that Judge Parker's that his justice took. He didn't worry much about the length or nature of your parole or rehabilitation. He just killed you. And this drives old Roy Blanton into a frenzy. The boys' brothers, yes, but especially Roy Blanton. And suddenly he's back. Suddenly the Blanton family is back. And that means that Buck Avery has a job to do. And he has a very, very able young marshal to help him do it. Buck Avery is known all throughout the territory as being a legend and also as not really wanting a partner. He works mostly alone. But he likes the cut of Casey Dixon's jib. And they go in search of the Blanton gang. And that's basically what this book is them hunting each one of the Blanton family down. And since the Blantons are sworn on revenge for their brother, there's not really much thinking about bringing them in. Instead, they're hunting to kill these people, to exterminate this family. And one by one they do. Until the climax of the novel, which has one element in it that is not explained, that is not explainable. I would say Deus Ex Machina, the old term for the Greek drama when the writer has worked himself into a corner and the only way to save the drama, the only way to end the show and send people home, is for a god to come down out of the stage work or up from the stage work and simply say, that's it, that's all. That's where Deus Ex Machina comes from, literally God from the machine. I hesitate to say that because that usually is a good ending. The Deus Ex Machina here, the weird thing at the end of this book, is almost the downfall of our heroes. So a character at the end of this book does something that no human can do. It's just a little bit odd. I didn't see it coming, and I wasn't really happy with it, but it's a heck of a scene. A heck of a scene. And there's a note. Charles West strikes it throughout the book, but he makes it explicit at the end of the book. When Buck Avery and Roy Blanton are facing off against each other, they are standing looking at each other. And Buck Avery says, we're both too old for this. You committed atrocities. I took the penalty out on you in the harshest way imaginable. I killed your boys. How about the two of us? He actually says, how about the two of us just cut some poles and go fishing? Roy Blanton, of course, doesn't want anything of that, and so there's the one twist at the end of this book, which is that a character is able to do something that a character should not be able to do. A human should not be able to do it, regardless of whether or not, as one character says, you're a part owl. But there's another twist as well, and I did not see the other twist, not at all. And I'm pretty good at guessing twists. I did not see it coming at all, and I loved it. Just loved it. I won't spoil the book. I always laugh about not spoiling books because usually I'm talking about a 35-cent paperback from 1950 that's never been reprinted and is never going to be reprinted. But this is a new book. This is an ebook. Not newish. It's a newish book. You could buy this thing. So I don't want to spoil the ending. But the twist at the end, there are two kinds of twists you get at the end of a melodrama. One is just a jump scare, a literary jump scare that you didn't see coming. The other rewrites the book retroactively. And this is the second kind. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I did not feel betrayed by it at all. There's a twist involving Buck Avery at the end of this book that I did not see coming at all. Loved it. So I really enjoyed this. It was a little bit leaden. There were absolutely no rhetorical flights of fancy at all. But and a few phrases are repeated way too often. A few phrases and also a few manners of speech crop up way too often in this book. And the one other element that I could warn you about, this is a case where you could actually download this, so I feel the reviewer's duty to warn you, is that there's gore in this book. Of course, it's people hunting people with guns, but the gore is done in an almost Quentin Tarantino way at some points. It's really good. It's really, really good, but it'll get to you. So you might want to go in prepared for that. It's not the bloodless chest clutching of old 1950s TV westerns. But I liked it. And it made me wonder what the rest of Charles West is like, which probably some of you know and I don't. Probably some of you have all of this guy's books and have already heard of him. I'd never heard of him before. And I confess, Shootout at Broken Bow has got me curious to read more along this line. Not maybe necessarily more Charles West, but more westerns that are in print that were written in the last 10 or 20 years. Kind of interested to read more of them, see what I get. See the differences, of course. Huge difference in this book is the way Native American people are treated. They're representatives of an individual government. They're law enforcement agents of their own. They're respected and liked. They're three-dimensional. That was a welcome change from the 1950s West. There's a lot of them, but in a lot of other ways too. I think that'll be. I usually just pick at random for June on the Range, but I think tonight it will still be mostly at random. And I think tonight the thing that will govern my choice will be another relatively modern Western that is so-called serious. I have plenty of Trailsman novels, but I think I want another so-called serious novel, and I have a few to choose from. So I'll be doing that tonight, I think, and I will report back. If I'm hoping, absent another heat wave, I'm hoping that I can give you a report for June on the Range for the rest of the event. We shall see. But anyway, since I've been gone from June on the Range for a while, I feel like I should ask how your June on the Range is going, if you're participating. Are you reading a Western in June, and are you enjoying it? I know the answer to some of that from some booktubers that I keep up with, but what about the rest of you? I'd love to hear about it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.